What's up, guys? It's been a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks since my last video. Things have just been crazy. Gym's opening back up. Just trying to do my own stuff online and with the t-shirt company we started, and just honestly, just it's been really busy lately. So YouTube kind of took a little bit of a backseat, but I made a promise to myself to try to be consistent, so we are working on that. Um, yeah, so today, really, what I want to talk about is my journey as a strength and conditioning coach, and kind of why I have a unique take as a strength and conditioning coach, as all strength and conditioning coaches do. Um, as you guys know, not everybody is the same. We are all different in our unique ways. Um, and this is kind of why I am unique in the strength and conditioning community, and kind of what I've learned. So I'm just going to start at the beginning. I went to Montana State University, went there for a year, and then I got fortunate enough to get an offer to walk on to University of Mary to play some baseball out there. Unfortunately, I got to play one game in the fall season and ended up getting hit in the finger. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a scar right there. This finger right here. So with that scar, that was actually, I got hit with a pretty severe fastball, and unfortunately it ended my fall season as we knew it, and then I ended up tearing my knee up in the off season. But at University of Mary, that was really my first experience with any sort of strength and conditioning coach. Until then, I'd really just been trained by my dad, who was a former bodybuilder. So he knew a lot about building muscle and building aesthetics, but he didn't really know so much about sports specific training and sports performance training. And there is a big difference. So kind of got my first taste of a collegiate strength and conditioning program from those guys in the fall when I was able to do it. In the spring, I just decided not to play baseball, so I never really rehabbed with a strength and conditioning coach. However, that was kind of my first taste, and learned a lot of Olympic lifts, which I had never done in high school. So I was about 19 at this time. And yeah, pretty much from there, I transferred back to MSU due to some. I really just wasn't gonna do great out in North Dakota. Had some stuff going on mentally. We can talk about that in a different video. And finished out my degree in kinesiology here. My last year at MSU, I volunteered to be a intern. Didn't get school credit for it. Just did it for me. Because I wanted to learn more about strength and conditioning and how I could become a strength and conditioning coach, really. So I volunteered to be an intern over at the Pit. Still one of my favorite experiences. It's really what got me going into strength and conditioning. It got me excited. It got me thinking about what I could do to help other people. I've always been passionate about fitness, and I've been passionate about health, but this is just a way I could translate that to helping other people, and in a way that is smart. So those guys over at the Pit, it's owned by a former NFL player, Dane Fletcher, played for the Patriots and the Buccaneers. He did a really great job, hired out the best staff that he could find, people that he worked with when he was in the NFL. So they had Sean Heron, former Velocity strength coach, and Alex Harms, former Exos strength coach. Hired them out, made their own system at the Pit. That was something that I learned a lot about, is making sure you have a system and sticking with it. The other intern there at the time was Katie Alton, and she's actually right now she's working for Exos, doing some stuff for Samsung in the private sector, which is great. So those guys are, in my opinion, some of the smartest strength and conditioning coaches I've ever worked with, and ever met, really. So what I learned most over there was sports training, sports specific training, and specifically within that, velocity training. So a lot of you guys don't know really what that means. Velocity training is training with a weight bar or a weight at a specific velocity. So usually measured in meters per second. Um, how fast that bar is moving is going to determine what we're working on, whether we're working on strength, endurance, power, strength, power, strength. There's a bunch of different stuff. And if you guys are interested in that, I can make a video about that as well. But something that I was very interested in there, it's really putting a science behind lifting. So it makes sense for the clients. It also makes sense from a science standpoint because we can track how well you're doing and how much progress you're making down to the number, which is awesome. So after my internship ended there, I graduated from college. I got my degree, got my certified strength and conditioning specialist certification, which was honestly not too hard to get after getting a degree. The degree pretty much prepped me for it. Plus, working at the pit gave me a huge notch up. Really didn't struggle at all during the test. And I got my first real job, first paying job as a strength and conditioning coach at Elevate Fitness and Performance Center in Hamilton, Montana. This was a Mike Boyle sports facility, so MBSC, Thrive facility. So they focused mostly on the adult population. However, I got hired there to not only work with the adult population, but to work with the kids. So the high school kids, soccer team specifically, did some work with some baseball players, did some work with middle school as well, and some of the lady soccer high school girls too. But what I learned most there was the importance of unilateral training. So, especially when it comes to sports, like I said, I had really only ever been exposed to hypertrophy training and weight training specifically for physique or bodybuilding athletes when I was growing up. So it never really occurred to me the importance of injury prevention and single leg training and how those correlate until I worked for Marla at Elevate. I also had the opportunity to go out to Woburn, Massachusetts, which is where the facility, the big facility for Mike Boyle's facility is. And when I was there, I got to meet Mike Boyle. I got to talk to him. Got to sit in a bunch of meetings with a bunch of bright people, some people that helped develop the Mike Boyle system. One person that I met when I was there, his name is James Lederock. I recommend you give him a follow on Instagram if you don't already. He really impacted me as far as how important it is to practice what you preach and also how important it is to have science behind what you're doing. One thing that Mike Boyle is completely against, that I disagree with personally, is back squats. So did James, and James called out Mike on this, and Mike did a pretty good job defending it. However, James, in my opinion, very visibly won the argument with him. And James runs his own gym in Pittsburgh, does a great job with it. Recently, during the coronavirus, just raised a bunch of money and donations for the food shelter and the food bank in his community, which says a lot about the guy. So, like I said, James Lederock, I'll put his link below. Really good guy, smart strength and conditioning coach. Always posting new articles and giving his insight on that stuff. So, 2 places so far. The Pit, learned a lot about velocity training. Elevate Fitness, learned a lot about single leg training and injury prevention. With those guys, working with the soccer team down there, they ended up doing pretty good. I believe they got third in their tournament. We had some trouble. There was a lot of fires that summer, so we couldn't really train outside when we were supposed to. However, I had a blast with those guys and still talk to them today. A lot of them are doing good. A couple of them went on to play in college, but they were just a blast and learned a lot with them. Which brings me to where I am now. I'm at the Ridge Athletic Club in Bozeman. At this point, I kind of have my own system. I know what I'm doing as a strength and conditioning coach. I know what I do with the adult population. I know what I do with the kid population. They're different, but the same. I don't know if that makes sense. But basically, what I mean by that is with the kids, I'm going to do more high impact stuff, more athletic injury prevention training. Or with the adults, I'm going to do more balanced stuff, lower impact, but the goal is still, you know, strength, endurance, make them look better. Still pretty much the same. Obviously, adults and kids have different bodies, so there's different things we got to do. But what I've learned most at the Ridge is the value of interpersonal relationships. So, the value of getting to know your clients and the value of really seeking out what they need. Instead of focusing on their goals, we want to focus on their results that they're getting and then the results that they want to get. So, I guess that would technically be their goals. But what I'm saying is instead of focusing on A to B, we're focusing on the journey to get there and how beneficial it is going to be when they actually do get there. So, at the Ridge, interpersonal relationships and sales. Sales was something I've never done, especially working with the Pit. I was an intern, really didn't do much there. With Elevate, I didn't do too much personal training, mostly small group stuff there and team stuff. So, did a lot of no, didn't really need to find any customers because they were all given to me. At the Ridge, it's been a little bit different. So I've had to find more customers and I've had to kind of nurture them into my system and show them the benefits of what it's like to have a personal trainer or a strength coach. Kind of explain the difference between the personal trainer and strength coach. A lot of people don't know that personal trainers don't have to have a degree. And they're fortunately at the Ridge, all the personal trainers are good. They know what they're doing. They not. I don't. I think all of them have a degree, of some sort. But there are a lot of personal trainers out there that go to high school, know a lot about fitness, get their personal training certification, and then just give cookie cutter programs to their clients. And that's not good. If you want results, you want a custom program. You want something that's good for you. Like I said earlier, everybody's different. So while I've been working at the Ridge, I had an internship with Montana State football as well. That I learned the importance of team culture and implemented a lot of that into my time as the head strength coach for the Bozeman Ice Dogs. The importance of winning the locker room, having those guys on your side, and how much more serious they'll take it is awesome, just amazing. So there's some ideas I have for next year going into the season that could have made us better as the hockey team in the weight room that the football team does. Just the environment of a college weight room with strength and conditioning is super important. So trying to provide that environment for the athletes is something I learned about from those guys. And now I'm kind of doing stuff at the Ridge still, but kind of venturing out on my own as well. And like I said, I have a pretty good system of what I know how to do and what I know works and how to make things best for each individual person. Right now, it's just a matter of getting those people to buy in and see the results, right? Um, so far, being pretty successful, but yeah, kind of just wanted to hop on here and tell you guys kind of my journey as a strength and conditioning coach, what makes me unique, and how this kind of molded me to who I am today. So, like I said, the Pit got me really going. Learned a lot about velocity training. Elevate, learned a lot about injury prevention and um, single leg stuff, single limb benefits of unilateral training over bilateral training. And I met a great strength conditioning coach, James. The Ridge, learned the value of interpersonal relationships and sales, and with MSU football, culture, environment, right? So that being said, don't really have much else to talk about right now. So hopefully you guys leave a like or a comment. Tell me what you want me to talk about next time. I know this was a little bit longer of a video, but I appreciate you sticking around and listening to it. Right on. Hope to see you guys in the next one.